If you're trying to lose body fat or you're trying to build muscle and you don't know exactly what type of foods to eat, I made this video for you. My name's Nicholas Rooney. I've been a coach for many years. I prioritize strength and muscle building. I've helped a lot of people, and I'm going to try and help you as well. Okay, let's get started. Meal timing is quite important. How I would structure meal timing is, if you can and you're trying to lose body fat, fasting in the morning is not a bad idea. It's a good idea to consider having your first meal at halfway through your day or later. I think that's a really good idea. I think it's worked for me. I think it's really helpful to allow your body to eat up all of the carbs. So for breakfast, if you can fast and it's necessary to fast, then perfect, fast. If you are fasting and you feel super sick, then a banana is perfectly fine. Things definitely not to eat: to drink calories, like drink sugary drinks or juices. The food that I would not recommend in the morning is any cereals. Opt in for high protein breakfast. With breakfast and lunch, you always want to try and get as much as the protein goal out as possible. So what examples would I give for breakfast if somebody's deciding they're not going to fast, so they are going to eat in the morning? What would I give them? Okay, so basically you can think about it as prioritizing the protein source first. And ideally you have a high protein. It's okay if there's fats, and no carb first and then minimal carb second. So high protein sources would be, for example, we've got eggs. So you could start with breakfast. Option 1 is scrambled eggs. Option 2, scrambled eggs with bacon, so bacon and eggs. Another option would be bacon, scrambled eggs, salmon, and avocado. And as you can notice, like, I'm still building out different ingredients that you can use for your breakfast, but no carbs yet. If you decide that you do want to add carbs, then you can use either sourdough bread or brown bread. Another option that you could have for breakfast is going to be Greek yogurt, low-fat Greek yogurt. You start with your protein source, which is going to be, let's say, Faye, I think is how you say it, yogurt. And then with that, you can go that on its own, then that with maybe some blueberries, that with some blueberries and maybe some nuts. Now remember, nuts are really high in calories, so be mindful of how much. Or finally that, some blueberries, some nuts, and some granola. And it's perfectly fine for you not to have all of these ingredients added. You can add just one or maybe two. You don't need to keep going, but also on the far side, you can add more if you want more variety in your meal. Just remember that, like, when you're adding ingredients, if you can add low calorie ingredients relative to high calorie ingredients, and definitely low sugar. Natural sugars are okay, and when I say natural sugars, I mean fruit that you've literally peeled, or fruit that's like still looks exactly like a fruit, but not too much. But it's okay. Blueberries are probably the best option for like a sweet fruit. Blueberries or bananas. Okay, so that's the breakfast done. There's nothing inherently bad for lunchtime. Have whatever you like, but again, absolutely prioritize protein, especially if it's your first meal. So if you started fasting, then and you're only eating your first meal at lunch, then definitely have high protein meal. So you can have one of the high protein breakfast options, or you can have something from this list. So again, what we're going to do is we're going to start with the main core object, which is the protein. So you can, in the middle, you can have your chicken, or you can have your beef, or you can have your tuna, or you can have your salmon. And then after that, you can build around it. So for example, a salad is a really good idea. So you have your chicken, and then salad, so rocket, tomato, other types of lettuce, cucumber. Maybe you want something that has a little bit more carbs. I think wraps would be carb source that can hold a lot of protein in it, but it's still quite low protein itself because it's quite thin. So I'd say wraps are probably good. So within a wrap, you have the wrap as your carb source, and then your protein can be either chicken, beef, turkey, etc. Pork is also great. Different proteins are higher in fats. So for example, proteins that are really low in fat are going to be prawns, certain types of fish like tuna, chicken, turkey, and then proteins that are slightly higher in fats are salmon, pork, and you can add a little bit of cheese as well. And then for dinner, dinner examples are roast. It's roast beef, roast chicken, roast ham. Get a bunch of vegetables, put them on a tray, stick it in the oven, stick the meat in the oven. Boom, happy days. depending on how many calories you have left at the end of the day, then you can look into like something like a soup if you've not that many calories, or if you've a lot of calories, then you can be a little bit more flexible. Possibly, maybe even look into rice or pasta as a carb source. But again, just make sure you've hit the protein for the first 2 meals of the day, and then you get to be a little bit more flexible. Meal order when you're eating, you would always try and eat the vegetables first, then proteins, and then carbs, and fruits fall under carbs as well. That basically kind of layers the stomach. That's some information about nutrition. It's obviously not everything, but it's enough to get you started on thinking about what foods to prioritize versus other foods, and it's definitely not exhaustive. So just bear that in mind. There's plenty of other food to have, but the principle is definitely there, where it's like, okay, where is the protein source in these meals? Am I going to reach my protein goal? Once I have, then I get more flexible. All right. Thanks, Mel. See you soon.